favorite, Mr. Wednesday. That's my cue. Enjoy the poutine at Dartmouth after.
City's finer forms of entertainment.
Good burlesque can be just as entertaining as a good vaudeville, if a little suggestive.
Well, this place attracts all sorts. Good evening, Doctor.
Inspector?
Sorry for dragging you to such a place at this time of night.
Well, not at all. I've always wondered what it looked like inside.
Not an entirely unlikely venue in which to find a murder.
More unexpected than anyone bothered to tell us about it.
Henry, who telephoned the police?
Well, sir? I did.
George?
Crabtree, what the bloody hell are you doing in a place like this? Sir? Higgins? All right, what did you see? A couple pretty girls, a couple not so pretty ones. It's all right, Crabtree. I've been found in worse places than this.
What can you tell us about the incident, George?
I can't tell you much of anything. Where were you seated?
Here at this table.
How could you not see anything? You were sat almost on top of the crime.
Well, sir, I don't know. It gets loud in here. Well, this may help explain a few things.
Use the kitchen towel to muzzle the gun. So, walks in, wraps the gun in a kitchen towel, shoots the victim, and walks out. And the victim's dead a few minutes before anyone's even noticed.
Giving the killer ample time to escape. Anything, Julia?
Yes, single gunshot wound to the right temple. I'll conduct a full post-mortem, but I can't imagine the cause of death will change. Is it your day off, George?
Doctor, yes.
I'm sorry that the show was so rudely interrupted. They say it's quite the spectacle.
Actually, Doctor, it really is. Well...
Ah, yes.
Yes.
I believe my work here is done. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Julia. George, exactly what was happening here an hour ago?
Sir, I believe that's when Miss Nina Bloom was on stage, which would explain why nobody noticed this. I mean, she's rather the reason why men come here. You say that as though you've been here more than once.
Let's get started, shall we?
So what would you like me to do? Go home, Crabtree. It's still your day off. Full of surprises, that one.
Ah, you there. You found the body, did you?
Yes, I did. I heard this was a rough place, but I didn't expect this.
And what were you doing prior to finding the body?
I was around the tables, picking up glasses.
And you didn't see anything?
Nothing.
Right. Thank you.
This place is full of lowlifes. Could have been any of them.
And you're certain that you didn't see anyone take a towel off the bar?
Well, I'm here alone. You see how crowded it is? Hardly matters to me what happens to the towels.
Can you identify the victim?
Called himself Jerry.
A regular?
Last couple of months. Always sat at the same table, never caused any trouble. Had a bit of an eye for Lydia.
Who?
Miss Lydia Hall. The redhead.
We didn't see anything. We were both busy on the stage.
You didn't hear anything resembling a gunshot?
We already told you, no.
Now, I understand you were familiar with the victim, Miss Hall.
No, not really.
If you withhold the truth from me, I will be forced to add you to my list of suspects. Now, the truth, please.
His name was Jerry. He had a room on Sumac Street. Corner of Sumac and King.
Thank you.
There it is.
Julia, I'm concerned about George frequenting a place like that on his own.
Perhaps he doesn't wish to spend his free time alone in his room.
Well, the vaudeville, yes. The arcade even. But the Star Room, it just doesn't seem like the sort of place that he would visit.
George has had a difficult year, William. First Edna and then Emily leaving. Perhaps he's simply lonely.
At any rate, 22 caliber.
I'm afraid there's likely not much else the body can tell us.
Right. Thank you, Julia.
I think what George needs is a friend. Someone he can talk to.
Oh, would you?
Not me, William. You.
Right. Right.
Ah, here we are, sir. Awfully callous of the landlord to throw away the victim's belongings so soon. In any case, this must be the crates he was talking about.
George, I thought that you and I might spend an evening together, outside of work.
Sure, I would enjoy that very much.
Oh, I thought you might be amenable to an evening at vaudeville.
Sir, to tell you the truth, I've gone off vaudeville a bit. It's too competitive.
Huh. All right, then. If not vaudeville, then perhaps a concert. Or a lecture. Yes, the Royal Society of Geologists is hosting an evening of talks about tectonics. That's the division of... Perhaps you could choose an activity, George.
Sure. I don't suppose you'd be up for a night at the burlesque. I know what you're thinking, sir. Some of the themes are adult in nature, but it's actually a very clever show, sir. People often say one thing when they sort of mean something else. It's very cheeky.
Yes, I'm familiar with what burlesque entails, George. I just didn't figure that to be your sort of comedy.
Well, sir, to tell you the truth, it's one of the dancers, Miss Nina Bloom. It sounds silly, sir, but she's mesmerizing.
That's her job, George.
Yes, I realize that, sir, but it's hard to explain.
Have you a relationship with this?
Oh, heavens, no, sir. I doubt she knows me from Adam.
I see.
You really need to see her perform to understand, I think.
Yes, well, perhaps we'll find an activity that we could both enjoy. Oh, here we are. Birth certificate from Buffalo. The victim's full name was Gerald Sloan. Well, here you are, George. Find out everything you can about Mr. Sloan, from his neighbors, his employer, and I think you'll find the dancer, Miss Lydia Hall, has some insights.
Sir.
Right, George. It's good talking like this. It's good.
Wednesday. You do know the show doesn't start until later. Or are you hoping for a sneak peek?
No, that is...
No, I don't believe I caught your name.
George Crabtree.
Nina Bloom. At your service, Constable.
I'm actually here on official business, Miss Bloom.
Here, I thought you'd come to help me with my routine. Give me a few pointers from a real copper? Perhaps I'm holding my gun incorrectly.
You are, in fact, but I hardly think anybody minds.
Oh, no. This is my craft. I strive for realism. In fact, I'm having some trouble taming my billy club. Maybe you could show me your technique?
I'm here to investigate a murder.
Lucky me.
You don't act like most people do when the police show up. Especially...
In a place like this? Well, I'm not most people. And if you haven't noticed, I've taken a bit of a shine to you.
I imagine you're like that with most of your customers.
Heavens, no. Only the ones I find interesting. And I think you find me interesting, too.
I do?
Take me to dinner tonight.
Miss Bloom, I'm here to speak. I'm actually here to speak to Lydia Hall about Gerald Sloan.
Ah, all business, I see. Well, she's not here yet. You're at station number 4?
Yes.
And that's where I'll telephone you.
When Miss Hall arrives.
Mm-hmm. Then, too.
Sir, the lads have yet to come up with the murder weapon, unfortunately. They've turned the star room upside down, but they've come up with nothing.
I'm not surprised, George. What did you find out about the victim?
Nothing again, sir. He's unemployed, yet he gave his landlord 6 months advance in cash.
Family?
None on record. In fact, there seems to be no record of this chap prior to 6 months ago, neither here nor in Buffalo.
No, there wouldn't be.
Sir?
The birth certificate's a forgery. Gerald Sloan doesn't exist. It appears an excursion is in order.
What is it with these Americans? Plastering their flag over every conceivable surface.
National pride, sir. I dare say the British aren't much different.
Yes, but our flag is subtle, powerful in its simplicity.
I see. According to George's directions, the police station should be somewhere along this block.
Well, let's hope his mind wasn't on certain other things when he wrote them down.
Sir, the instructions say that we are to wait for Detective Walker outside the police station.
Murdoch and Brackenreed? Badges, please. Follow me. You want to know about Gerald Sloan? So do a lot of people.
Oh?
Well, it hardly matters now. The truth is, he's not Gerald Sloan. His real name is Jerry Sachs.
And just why did Sachs feel the need to change his name?
I caught him on a job, but rather than go to jail, he turned informant and gave evidence against the head of the enterprise. Sachs' testimony sent him away, so I sent Sachs away.
You forged the birth certificate.
In exchange for his testimony, Sachs was given a new identity, some cash, and a train ticket to a new city.
He chose Toronto.
He didn't choose anything. We did.
You sent a criminal to my city without so much as a courtesy call.
Informing you of his whereabouts would have defeated the purpose, Inspector.
Unbelievable. I'll be having a word with your superiors about this.
I suppose it doesn't matter anymore. Sachs was a test case. It's a relocation agreement tactic. But since they found him, I doubt I'll ever get approval to do it again.
Since who found him, Detective? Just who did Mr. Sachs put in prison?
The founder of the Buffalo chapter of the Black Hand, Giuseppe Falcone. You know of him.
If you bothered to let us know of your plans, Sachs might still be alive.
At any rate, I imagine the Black Hand is still operating in spite of Mr. Falcone's incarceration.
We expected his son would take over, Giuseppe Jr., but we haven't heard a peep out of him for weeks.
We want to talk to Falcone.
That'll take some time to arrange.
Oh, we've got plenty.
Did Mr. Sachs have any next of kin?
A wife and some children.
Oh, may we...
Better you than me.
Jerry is really dead?
I'm afraid he is.
We can arrange for his body to be sent back to you from Toronto.
Don't bother. I'm not about to get stuck with his funeral bill.
I'm not sure you know this, Mr. Sachs, but your husband was granted asylum in exchange for a testimony.
I know all about it. We were packed and ready. But the bastard up and left without so much as a never you mind, and I never heard from him again.
So you and your children were meant to go with him?
It was part of the deal. What cold-hearted bastard would leave his wife behind to support 3 children all on her own?
And yet you never followed.
I would have, if I'd known where he'd gone.
Where were you 2 nights ago?
You're not serious. I was on a 16-hour shift at the Larkin Soap Works, which, thank the Lord, I won't have to do much longer.
Why do you say that?
My husband is dead, Detective. Now I can finally start over.
Quieted down here a little bit.
Murder will do that. It's nice not having to fend off groping hands for one night. Well, the unwanted ones, at least.
Are there many unwanted ones?
I have my regulars. The spectacle man, Eamon, but he's harmless. There's a couple of aldermen, who shall not be named. And that Joe fellow's the worst, though. Even gave me his room number at the Monarch Hotel. At least he's moved on to Lydia now.
So, are men in the habit of giving you their room numbers?
Happens. Though there's one in particular I've yet to be offered.
So, are you in the habit of visiting men in their rooms?
If I so choose.
I see.
Do you think that improper? Do you think men are the only ones who feel lust or passion?
No, of course not.
But you think they're the only ones allowed to act on it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's proper that a young
If you
woman...
cared all that much about propriety, you wouldn't be here.
Nina.
Excuse me, Squire. Oh, I'll have a beer and I'll take the chicken, please.
All out.
Well, then I'll take whatever you've got.
I'm sorry, sir. Kitchen has no food left.
Bollocks. What kind of restaurant has no food?
You're welcome to come see for yourself. All we have left is the refuse from the chicken special.
What refuse?
Well, the wings. Inedible.
At this point, I'd eat the bloody feathers. Fry 'em up.
Oh, but sir, they're just bone and skin.
You're going to throw them away and I'm offering you good money instead.
Oh, well, if you're sure, go. Off you go. Get him a beer.
Mr. Falcone will be at the police station in the morning.
Excellent. Can you join me?
What is that?
Dinner. I put some of this spicy sauce on. Try one.
No, thank you.
No loss. But I'll tell you, mate, these chicken wings are the only good thing about Buffalo. Will you look at that? The Canadians are eating our garbage.
I can move the screen if you like.
I'm terribly sorry. I can come back at another time.
Why are you in here, George?
I was looking for Lydia Hall.
I don't think that's really why. I know what you want. I see how you look at me when I'm on stage. Perhaps I misjudged. Perhaps I didn't.
Is that your bag?
It's Lydia's. What did that girl get herself into?
I have to go wash brings down to the station.
At this hour, I doubt anyone will be there to see it.
Well, that's probably true, but
The gun isn't going anywhere, George. Neither are you.
thank you.
Mr. Falcone.
I hope you're not here to malign my good name yet again.
We're not here to talk about the past.
Oh, no? Now I am intrigued.
You knew this man.
Jerry Sachs, or his more recent name, Gerald Sloan, he testified against you.
Yes, I know. I was there when it happened.
Jerry Sachs is dead. He was murdered.
It was only a matter of time.
How did you find out Mr. Sachs was in Toronto?
You just told me.
Mr. Falcone, we know you didn't kill Jerry Sachs. But we have strong evidence that his murder is connected to you.
Who did you order to kill Sachs? Your son?
I didn't order anyone, but I cannot stop those loyal to me if they wish to defend my honor. And there are many loyal to me, both men and women, on both sides of the border.
Nina, what in God's name are you doing?
I'm just wondering why Lydia would need this.
Nina, give me that. Oh, God. This is evidence. Your finger marks are going to be all over it now. I need to go.
As you wish.
I mean, I really do. I have to get this down to the station right away.
You know where to find me.
Right.
Good morning, Crabtree. Oddly dressed for work.
Sir, I was at the storeroom.
Well, this morning. Do what you want on your own time, but I'm not paying you to watch young girls prancing around in their skivvies.
Sir, I found it in the effects of one of the dancers' costumes, Lydia Hall's.
Any finger marks on it?
Yes, sir. Some of them will turn out to be Nina Bloom's, but I assure you they were applied long after the murder.
I daren't ask how that happened. What led you to search the costumes?
Well, I found myself in the ladies' changing room. So,
Found yourself there, did you?
Why were you in the ladies' change room?
well, I was interviewing Miss Bloom, you see.
And her answers led you to Miss Hall's costume.
No, not exactly.
Well, then just what exactly, George? It could be material to the case.
Murdoch, what do you think he was doing with a burlesque dancer in her dressing room?
Oh, I see.
On the job, no less. You want to thank your lucky stars that your little assignation revealed evidence. Otherwise, we'd be having a much different conversation right now, bugalugs.
Sir.
George, a moment.
Yes, sir.
The Black Hand? Back in Toronto?
So it would seem. You understand how this changes things. Where's Miss Hall now? At the Star Room?
No, sir, she didn't go to work either last night. I'll find her.
All right, George.
Sir, I would like to employ the assistance of Miss Bloom, with your permission.
She could be involved in this.
I truly don't believe she is, sir.
Tread carefully, George.
Sir, Crabtree, good advice. A woman like that will most likely eat him alive.
Julia thinks that George is just lonely.
That's one word for it, I suppose. I'll call Margaret.
Sir?
I'm certain that Margaret can find him a pleasant young lady to take his mind off things.
Oh, yes, of course, of course. Julia and I could host a dinner Saturday evening.
Saturday it is.
Lydia isn't a killer. She's barely an answer. All that poor girl wants is to find a husband. Besides, she was on stage with me the whole time.
I know, Nina, but the gun was with her costume. She must know something. About last night.
What about it?
It was enjoyable. I mean, it was beyond... I mean... What I mean is, we hardly know each other, and...
And what?
Well, I'm sure you have certain expectations.
Expectations?
I just want you to know I'm an honorable man.
I don't want to marry you, George.
Well, no, of course not. I mean, not yet.
Not ever. I hardly even know you. And besides, I'm not that kind of woman.
What kind?
The marrying kind.
You shouldn't think so little of yourself. I'm sure many men would disregard your past.
I shouldn't care if they did or didn't. I'm not like Lydia. I don't dance at the burlesque only to snag a husband.
Why do you?
Because I enjoy it. I won't deny myself the things that bring me pleasure. And that includes you. If you think less of me because of it, then so be it.
I don't.
Good. And should you want to continue enjoying my company, I will welcome you. If not, I am happy to part now.
I don't want that.
And stop questioning the right or wrong of it. It simply is.
I don't know anything about any black hands or any foreigners. All nosy fellas coming around is really bad for business.
The sooner we catch who's responsible, the sooner we'll stop coming round.
Look, you're the bartender here. You know better than anyone what goes on in this place. Who do you know that has connections to the Falcone family out of Buffalo?
My new bus boy, he's from Buffalo. Miles Hart.
Wait, the same busboy who discovered the body?
Yes.
Where is he now?
Well, look at the state of this place. Not here, obviously.
There might be one more place, but you'd have to be really desperate to hide there.
What is that?
Her parents' home.
So you really believe that you can do whatever you want, regardless of the consequences?
What consequences?
Read your reputation.
My reputation is not who I am.
Well, I know that, but others...
Do you always act the way others expect you to?
Well, I don't know.
What is it you want? What is it you aspire to, George?
Respectability, I suppose, like anybody else.
So you grew up expecting to find a girl, marry her, have a family, and live happily ever after.
Yes, more or less.
Has it happened?
No.
Does your life have less meaning because of it? Does it make you less of a man?
No, I hope not.
All I'm saying is make your own choice. Just because you were told life should be a certain way doesn't mean it's the only way. Marry, don't marry, what does it matter? This is it. Lydia? Oh, Nina!
Yeah, Miss Hall! Miss Hall!
I didn't say anything!
Miss
I
Hall?
swear, please let me go!
I'm Customer George Crabtree. I'm here to help.
Let me just get my coat.
Miss Hall, if you just take a seat here, Detective Murdoch will be right with you. Gilpin, fetch the detective.
If you didn't do anything wrong, then just tell them the truth. And if I did, oh, Lydia. Don't go too hard on her. She's a simple girl, really.
Oh, Nina, Detective Murdoch is the fairest man I know. Listen, I would never have found her without you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. But before I go, I'd like to claim my reward.
Your reward.
Crabtree!
Sir.
Miss Bloom, the constabulary thanks you for your services.
Oh, I've already been thanked, Inspector.
Now, if you don't mind, we have work to do.
As do I. At the Star Room. New show every week. Bye, George.
Right, you lot, back to work! What do you think this is, a bordello?
No, sir.
I'm sure their files need filing. Get up them stairs and keep your bloody head down.
Sir.
This gun was found in your costume. How did it come to be there?
I don't know.
Miss Hall, you must realize that at the moment, you are in serious trouble. Obstruction of an investigation and possibly accessory to murder. Now, how did the gun come to be amongst your personal effects?
That night, I was on stage. Afterwards, I went straight to my dressing room, as I always do, after my performance, to rest a moment. I didn't even know what had happened. Somebody yelled that no one was to leave. The police were on their way. That's when he came in.
Who?
That's all I could do to fight him off.
Miss Hall, who came in?
I can't tell you. He told me not to.
Miss Hall says a man came into the dressing room after Mr. Sachs was killed.
Once he heard the police had been called and knew he was trapped, he must have followed Miss Hall into a dressing room and then hidden the weapon in her costume.
Plausible scenario?
All we need now is for her to identify her assailant. That Hart fella from Buffalo, I had Thompson bring him in. He may be our man.
I'll see what I can find out. We have a suspect. Now I would like you to tell me if it's the man you saw in the dressing room after the murder.
No. No, absolutely not.
If you can identify him, he'll be arrested. And you will no longer be in danger. Is this the man?
That's the new busboy Miles. Of course it wasn't him. It was one of the patrons.
Can you describe him? Young lady, you are trying my patience.
He's been coming around now for a few weeks. He calls himself Joe.
Thank you.
You heard all that?
We did. Silly young girl. She must be daft to dance in a place like that anyway.
Sir, isn't Giuseppe Italian for Joseph?
You're thinking this Joe fella could be Giuseppe Falcone Jr.?
It's a possibility.
Sirs, if Giuseppe is Joe, I know where to find him.
Somewhere you'd rather be?
No, sir.
A telephone from the exchange, so if Mr. Falcone Jr. is paying the staff to warn him, he'll be coming out any moment.
Look, Crabtree, I'm glad you're having yourself a bit of fun with that dancer, and she's a looker, but be careful.
Careful, sir.
Women like that are only after one thing. Look at yourself. Nice lad, good prospects. Not the sort that she usually crosses paths with.
She may be trying to entrap you, George, into marriage.
Sir, she's not interested in that. She has told me as much.
Of course she did. Your brain is so addled you can't see the wood for the trees.
So with all due respect, it's hardly any of your business.
End it now, Crabtree.
I'm afraid the inspector's right, George.
You as well, sir.
Get smart. You wouldn't want a woman like that raising your children now, would you?
Look, considering who raised me, I wouldn't think it much of a problem, sir.
That's him. I recognise him from the Star Room.
Giuseppe Falcone, Detective William Murdoch, Toronto Constabulary. We know who you are and what you've been up to.
Congratulations. Don't be smug. Your father can't help you beat a murder charge from jail now, can he?
Go ahead and charge me. You can't prove a damn thing. But it's gonna be fun watching you buffoony try. Sachs deserved every bullet he got.
You were at the Star Room at the time of the murder?
I gave my statement to one of your constables.
Which left out your little sojourn into the dressing room, whereupon you hid the murder weapon.
That's a nice story. Look, I'm not saying I didn't kill him.
Then say you did.
Why should I?
This gun was found amongst the dancers' costumes at the Star Room.
No one's gonna say that's mine.
They don't have to. Your finger marks are on it.
That's all the proof we need.
Wait. Yes, that's my gun. But I didn't kill anybody.
Right.
No, really. I was going to. I mean, I was supposed to do it. Weeks ago. I couldn't. But I'm a Falcone. I had to take the credit.
Even though you didn't do it?
It can still be me, can't it? Just without going to jail?
Sir, the bullet did not come from Falcone's gun.
So he's telling the truth?
It would appear so.
But he was sent here for that purpose. His father did indeed know that Mr. Sachs was here in Toronto.
So then, who told Falcone Sr.?
It was that dancer. She showed up in Buffalo mouthing off about Jerry.
Which dancer was in Buffalo?
You know, the one who led me on. The redhead.
Jerry already had a wife back in Buffalo, but he said he wanted to marry me.
He told you that?
He told me everything. That he was a thief back in Buffalo, but he wanted to go straight. So he changed his name and came here to start over.
I'm afraid that's not quite true.
It is. He wanted to marry me, only his wife wouldn't let him.
So you decided to go to Buffalo to confront his wife?
I thought that if I could show her that Jerry was lost to her, that she would let him go.
And what did Mrs. Sachs say to you?
She wanted a divorce. She even had a new beau, only she didn't know where Jerry was.
So you told her?
Of course. told Jerry that everything was worked out. He was so mad at me, I never understood why.
Jerry Sachs was given a new identity in exchange for his testimony against a powerful criminal.
What?
His family was to join him, but he abandoned them instead.
He was never going to marry me, was he? He lied to me about everything. Oh my God. I told them where Jerry was. He was killed because of me. It was all my fault. I just wanted a husband. I just wanted to be able to walk down the street with my head held high.
Miss Hall told Mrs. Sachs that her husband was here in Toronto, yet Mrs. Sachs told us she had no idea where he was.
Why lie to us? She didn't kill her husband. The soapworks confirmed that she worked a 16-hour shift that day.
She didn't kill anyone.
Go on.
Well, sir, Mrs. Sachs told Miss Hall that she had a new beau and that she intended to remarry.
So you think the new beau told Falcone where Sachs was hiding, expecting him to take care of it?
Which Falcone did by sending his son here.
But Junior didn't do what he was supposed to.
So perhaps this mystery beau decided to take care of Mr. Sachs himself.
So all we have to do now is find the bugger.
No one in the Star Room saw or heard a thing. Not even George, who was seated almost on top of the victim.
Why should anyone have noticed anything if they were so fixated on the stage, as you say? Only something unexpected would have diverted attention.
But isn't a man walking through a crowded room with a towel unexpected?
You sure he's here?
The bartender at the Star Room said that he was headed back to Buffalo. Let's hope he wasn't lying.
I doubt it. He succeeded where Junior failed. Falcone wants to reward him.
Go back to Toronto and leave me alone.
Mrs. Sachs, step aside or you'll be arrested for harboring a fugitive.
There's no one here.
Hold your nose, sunshine. Come here.
Leave me alone. Miles only wanted to give me a better life.
Miles Hart, you're under arrest for the murder of Jerry Sachs.
You can't arrest me. I'm an American citizen.
Extradition papers.
Canada's this way, Mr. Hart.
Ken?
George, it's a nice surprise. Can you unlace me? Wasn't expecting to see you tonight. Aren't you supposed to be out protecting our fine citizenry? I should tell you that I'm otherwise engaged this evening. Well, that's quite a face. Could use some cheering up. What's wrong? Tell me.
You know, I had words with my inspector about you.
What did he say?
Nothing. Nothing more.
A casual evening amongst friends. That's exactly what George needs to get his mind off of his burlesque dancer.
William, it isn't for you to judge with whom George chooses to spend his time.
I only mean that George deserves better.
You don't even know her.
Her reputation.
Well, consider my reputation. Is that how you would judge me? So you and the inspector are delivering this poor woman to George?
Oh, she's a fine young lady. Her father owns a stationery store on Avenue Road.
Oh. Well, we know how much George loves pens.
Right.
William, I can't see how this is a good idea from any perspective.
Let's make our guests feel welcome, shall we?
We'll head down to the dining room when George appears. Oh.
Cheese?
Must be nice to have someone do all the cooking for you. You should have tasted the abomination Thomas made for me last night.
Sir, you didn't.
I did indeed. Margaret got to enjoy the spicy wings of buffalo. The boys love them.
Ugh, ghastly. Will Mr. Crabtree be here soon? Oh, I'm sure he will. But don't make yourself too available. A good man relishes the challenge.
Ah, that must be the man of the hour now.
Now get to your feet. Let him see what awaits. Welcome.
Thank you for the kind invitation, Dr. Ogden.
Pleased to have you, George.
I hope you don't mind. I brought a guest.
So delighted to have been included in your little soiree.
Crabtree?
Thomas, not again.
Everyone, meet my new sweetheart, Miss Nina Bloom.
On an all-new Murdoch. Julia! Julia, no! Don't miss the gripping season finale. Murdoch Mysteries. Next Monday at 8 on CBC. the next Jekyll and Hyde.
Do you know what an incubus is?
They appear to you in the form of the person you love most and feed on your soul.
One of them has escaped. Jekyll's the enemy to stop it. And I'll meet Jekyll and Hyde next on CBC.
We need all hands on deck.